Hello everyone, and thank you for clicking on this video. In this presentation, we will be discussing about the bacteria Acidity ferrooxidans and how it relates to the mining environment. So this presentation was made by several members, which are Calvin, Anand, Roy, Wayne, and me, Adam. So in the next slide, Calvin will give you a detailed introduction to our topic. Thank you.
So our group member chose the mining area or mines as our environmental object, as we know that mining and metallurgy are the necessary branch in economy sector in the global technological development, or in simple way, they are the critical economic sector in worldwide, on which relies a large part of other industries. But now mining is facing its greatest challenge, such as they have to find a new extractive methods for refractory metals. This is because the current difficulty of location high grade ores, and also there are new concern about environmental protection and conservation, as well as some mining companies need to reduce cost and energy consumption. But this negative consequence can be solved by biomining methods or biohydrometallurgy. Biomining or biohydrometallurgy is the process that using the microorganism or microbes to extract metals of economic interest from rock ores or mine waste. And it also may be used to clean up the sites that has been polluted by metals. And in this process, Acidity ferrooxidans has been involved because some microbes are good at oxidizing sulfidic minerals, so it is able to converting metals into form that can be dissolved more easily. For description and taxonomy of Acidity ferrooxidans will be explained by my partner Anand.
Thank you, Kelvin. So, St. ferrooxidans is a gram-negative gamma protobacterium that thrives optimally at 30 degrees Celsius and pH of 2, but they can also grow at pH 1 or lower. Their ability to survive in low pH conditions makes them abundant in natural environments associated with pyritic ore bodies, coal deposits, and their acidified drainages. Their primary habitats are acidic conditions producing strong reducing environments. The genus of this group is known as St. and they are acidophilic obligate autotrophs that use elementary sulfur, tetrathionate, and ferrous iron as electron donors. They assimilate carbon from carbon dioxide using the Transil-Dolis variant of the Kelvin-Benson-Basson cycle. They contain a single circular chromosome which consists of around 3,000 genes, and even low concentrations of these metallic ions would be extremely hazardous to other bacteria. Additionally, these bacteria have been utilized in industrial bleaching efforts to extract otherwise unobtainable metals. So essentially, ferrooxidans metabolism is beneficial since it can attack insoluble sulfides containing minerals and convert them into soluble metal sulfates. And usually smelting techniques produce hazardous byproducts, but this microbe is actually a clean alternative for that. As for their morphology, we weren't able to find a lot of information online regarding that or their general structure, but from what we found out, we know that they mostly occur as single cells, but they can also occasionally occur in pairs or chains depending on their growth conditions, and they have been described as highly motile as well as non-motile species. They possess resistance against heavy metals and oligotrophic conditions. And actually, St. ferrooxidans can fix atmospheric carbon dioxide as their carbon source, which is essential for biomass. And as we know, nitrogen is a common limiting nutrient source in our environment, but this microbe can actually fix atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, which is essential for nucleotides and amino acids. And here you can see the electron micrograph of this microbe. Now the next slide will be presented by Adam, which will be about the role and mechanism of this microbe.
So now I will be presenting the role of Acidity ferrooxidans in biomining. So the first role of this bacteria is to leach low-grade ores. So low-grade ores are ores with low concentration of metals and that are not worth recovering through smelting. Smelting is another method that uses heat and reducing agent to decompose the ore. The second role is to act as a biological catalyst. So how this works is the metabolism of Acidity ferrooxidans increases the concentration of ferric ion and sulfate ion. As a result, the dissolution of sulfide minerals and the amount of acidic water increases. So therefore, the microorganism will play as a catalyst. Also, it is also responsible for accelerating the oxidative dissolution of sulfide minerals and also uh, the oxidation of ferrous ion. In the absence of this bacteria, the oxidation of ferrous ion would take place very slowly. And the third role of this bacteria is to facilitate recovery of base and precious metals for mineral leachates. Leachates also mean extracts. And after that, this bacteria also solubilizes copper and other metals from the ore. So Aciditobacillus ferroxidans, they change insoluble metal sulfides such as copper sulfide in the ore into soluble metal sulfates such as copper sulfates. This is due to the major byproducts of the bioleaching process or also biomining process, which are ferric ion and sulfuric acid. So this is the second mechanism, which is the mechanism of Aciditobacillus ferroxidans in indirect biomining. So in this mechanism, the bacteria will generate a lixiviant that promotes the indirect dissolution of the iron sulfide mineral. And in this reaction, the ferric ion is the lixiviant in acidic conditions, such as copper mines. So let's take a look at figure A. So figure A is the reaction of metal sulfide solubilization. So the MES stands for metal sulfide. So in this reaction, the metal sulfide reacts with iron 3 sulfate to produce metal sulfate and iron 2 sulfate along with sulfur. After this reaction, the Aciditobacillus ferroxidin will oxidize the sulfur into sulfuric acid. So let's take a look at which is shown in figure B. So in this reaction, the Aciditobacillus ferroxidin uh, oxidizes the sulfur. So the sulfur will react with oxygen and water that's from the bacteria to produce sulfuric acid. So sulfuric acid and the metal sulfide will be the end product of this mechanism. The reason why the oxidization is required because the sulfuric acid maintains the pH level at conditions that are favorable to the bacteria, which is in acidic conditions. So therefore, the copper oxide minerals can be leached effectively. This will make the copper sulfate the end product. And now I would like to pass on to Roy to present the outcomes of interaction between the bacteria and the mine environment. Thank you.
So here are some of the outcome of interaction. So bacteria helps to attract matter by increasing the solubility of heavy metal, which allows the extraction of metal easier. And this reduces the metal wasted. And the availability of toxic metal is reduced because bacteria lowers the oxidation state of metal, which in turn turns heavy metal into metallic metal, so lesser toxic metal. And according to a study, there are around $7 billion worth of nickel in the mine tailing alone. And because of that, 5% of nickel and 20 to 25% of copper in the world are produced from bioleaching. And the same process can also be used to attract metal from electronic waste, such as mobile phones or PCs. Also, the Acidobacillus ferroxidans can bioleach the phosphorus from iron ore, and this in turn not only reduces the iron wasted, but can also provide a source of phosphorus. And phosphorus is a good source for agriculture industry for fertilizer. And another outcome is the number of bacteria that are resistant to heavy metal will increase due to selection pressure. And bacteria can also replace environmentally damaging reagents, such as potassium cyanide from gold extraction and also desulfurization of coal tailing. And the bioleaching process actually reduces the pH of the soil due to sulfuric acid. So instead of doing bioleaching out in the open, we now have a machine called stirred tank reactor, where the mine tailings are grinded into powder, and they are added into the machine along with bacteria such as the acidobacillus ferrooxidans for the iron ore to break down the metal, and this ensures that the sulfuric acid are not released into the environment.
Alright. When mining, naturally occurring heavy metals can be found. These heavy metals are elements that are known for their high density and their high atomic weight. So heavy metals have lots of presence in the world due to their application in medical, agricultural, and technological sectors. For example, in the technological sector, heavy metals such as nickel and cadmium are both used in batteries. So since heavy metals are naturally occurring, general mining and smelting has caused these heavy metals to be spread around the environment, and these heavy metals become potential pollution hazards due to their carcinogenicity and toxicity. So in 1993 USA, nickel-cadmium batteries that were present in solid waste streams were incinerated for waste management, and with research, around 1/5 of cancerous emissions came from these batteries. So speaking of cadmium, cadmium exposure is dangerous to humans as it causes harm to our breathing and our digestion. And furthermore, long-term exposure may cause cancer related to our lungs. So to prevent exposure to cadmium and cancer risk, an alternative way of disposing these heavy metal batteries needs to be implemented. So another way to dispose nickel-cadmium batteries is to recycle them. But how? Well, the bacterium known as Acidity ferrooxidans may be of help. Based on a live experiment, A. ferrooxidans was used in the bioleaching of household batteries that were made of heavy metals such as nickel-cadmium and as well as nickel metal hydride batteries. So, heavy metals, cobalt, nickel, and cadmium were selectively extracted from the batteries, and with more than 90% of each metal being recovered under specified conditions. So with the metal recovery rate of A ferrooxidans bioleaching being so high, widespread use of A ferrooxidans bioleaching in extracting and recycling of used heavy metals can become a possibility. By bioleaching heavy metals from solid waste, as the example given, such as dead household batteries, supply of heavy metals can be increased without purposely mining for heavy metals. So with less mining, the planet faces less damages from mining, such as contamination and soil erosion.
So all in all, mining and ore processing are changing the geological conditions, producing a tremendous amount of waste worldwide, causing negative consequences for the environment and lead to climate change. But these negative effects on the environment can be mitigated by treatment or research from mining and metallurgy with microorganisms or microbes. Microorganisms can be used for the leaching of metal from ores, concentrates, and waste materials, but also for the bioremediation of acid mine drainage. On that way, it reduces the release of metals into the environment. Most current biomining operation target are valuable metals like copper, uranium, nickel, and gold that are commonly found in sulfidic or sulfur-bearing minerals. Microbes are especially good at oxidizing sulfidic minerals, so it can convert metals like iron or copper into form that can dissolve more easily. Thus, this biomining is a good method since the long-term adverse effects on the environment and public health cannot be overlooked. And here's the end of our presentation. That's all from us. Thank you.